My family's favoritism toward my adopted sister shattered me, until her shocking true identity was exposed at my birthday party. Hey Reddit. Growing up, I always felt like a shadow in my own family. My parents, though loving and supportive in their own way, seemed to pour all their attention into my adopted sister, Emily. She came into our lives when I was just 5 years old, a tiny bundle with wide, curious eyes and a charming smile that seemed to melt hearts instantly. At first, I adored her. As an only child, I'd always wanted a sibling, someone to share secrets with, to play with, and to be my partner in crime. But as we grew older, it became painfully clear that Emily was the star of our family, while I was the understudy. Emily excelled at everything she tried. She was a gifted musician, effortlessly mastering the piano by the time she was 8. She was athletic, winning every race at school sports day, and academically brilliant, always topping her class. My parents beamed with pride at every achievement of hers, their voices full of admiration as they bragged to anyone who would listen. Meanwhile, my accomplishments, however small or big, were barely acknowledged. I remember once coming home with a painting I had spent weeks working on for an art competition. My teacher had praised it, even suggesting it could be displayed in a local gallery. When I showed it to my parents, they gave me a quick, distracted smile before turning their attention back to Emily, who was practicing a new song on the piano. By the time I reached my teens, I was drowning in resentment. It wasn't just the lack of attention, it was the way they seemed to compare me to her at every turn. Why don't you try harder like Emily? Look how disciplined she is. Or the ever-haunting question, why can't you be more like your sister? It all came to a head on my 16th birthday. Birthdays were supposed to be special, a day when the spotlight was finally mine. But that year, my parents decided to throw a joint celebration. Emily's recital had been the previous week, and they thought it would be a good idea to combine the two events. The party was grand, far more elaborate than any of my previous birthdays. The house was filled with guests, most of whom were there to celebrate Emily's recital. Her trophies were prominently displayed on the mantelpiece, and midway through the party, my parents even had her perform a song for everyone. I tried to smile through it, but when the cake was brought out, it was the final straw. Instead of the design I had requested, a simple chocolate cake with my name, it was adorned with music notes and a piano, clearly chosen with Emily in mind. My name was squeezed into the corner as if it were an afterthought. I couldn't take it anymore. Tears streamed down my face as I stormed out of the house, leaving the party behind. For weeks, I avoided my family as much as possible, burying myself in schoolwork and spending time with friends. But no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't escape the ache of feeling like I didn't belong. Then, something strange happened. A few months after my birthday, I stumbled upon a locked box in the attic. It was tucked away in a corner, covered in dust. Curiosity got the better of me, and I pried it open. Inside were papers, old photographs, and a small diary. The papers were adoption documents, but something about them seemed off. Emily's birth date was listed differently than what we had always been told, and the names of her biological parents were blacked out in a way that felt deliberate. The photographs were even more perplexing. They showed Emily as a toddler with an older couple, but there was no mention of who they were. The diary, however, was the real revelation. It belonged to my mother, and its entries painted a picture I couldn't quite piece together. She wrote about meeting someone named Catherine and making a decision that would change everything. I was consumed by the need to know the truth. But every time I tried to bring it up, my parents brushed me off or changed the subject. It wasn't until my 17th birthday that the truth finally came out. My parents had planned another big party, and I was dreading it. But this time, I decided to confront them before the celebrations began. I cornered them in the kitchen, holding the adoption papers and the diary. I need to know the truth, I demanded. Who is Emily, really? My parents exchanged nervous glances before my dad finally spoke. You're right, he said, his voice heavy with guilt. There's something we've been keeping from you. They explained that Emily wasn't just adopted, she was the daughter of a wealthy family who had paid my parents to take her in temporarily. It was supposed to be a secret arrangement, but when Emily's parents never returned, my parents decided to keep her. But there's more, my mom added, her voice trembling. Emily's real parents are here tonight. I felt like the ground had been ripped out from under me. Before I could process what they were saying, the doorbell rang, and a well-dressed couple walked in. The room fell silent as they approached Emily, who looked as confused as I felt. The woman stepped forward, her eyes brimming with tears. My sweet Emily, she whispered. We've been searching for you for so long. The party dissolved into chaos as the truth unraveled. Emily's biological parents had been looking for her for years, hiring private investigators and following every lead. They had finally traced her to our family and wanted to take her back. Emily was devastated. She had grown up believing she was abandoned, and now, faced with the truth, she didn't know what to feel. My parents, too, were caught in a whirlwind of guilt and regret. For the first time, I saw Emily not as the golden child, but as someone who had been living a lie, just like me. In the days that followed, we began to bond in a way we never had before. Her biological parents eventually decided to give her time to adjust before making any drastic changes. Emily stayed with us, but our dynamic shifted. My parents, perhaps out of guilt, started paying more attention to me, and Emily and I found comfort in each other as we navigated the chaos together. Looking back, I realized that the truth, as painful as it was, brought us closer. My family's favoritism had shattered me, but the shocking twist at my birthday party gave me something I never expected, a chance to rebuild. And in the process, I found not just a sister, but an ally. Sometimes, it takes the shattering of everything you thought you knew to uncover the bonds you never realized you needed, and in that chaos, we found a way to heal, together. And that's a wrap for today's video, folks. Stay tuned for more exciting content. Thanks for watching.